Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action with MyBookie.net. MyBookie has real Vegas odds and incredible player props for all your favorite sporting events. MyBookie offers in-game live action on all pro and college football games. There's no better time to join MyBookie than today. Pull out your smartphone and visit our user-friendly mobile site for adrenaline on demand. Open your browser and type in MyBookie. What are you waiting for? Call 844-722-2387 or go online to join MyBookie today. No deposit necessary. Terms and conditions apply. Play for fun only. Void where prohibited.
Attention all sports bettors. FSN Info has just released tonight's blowout winner between Philadelphia and Chicago, the ESPN game of the week, and it's available right now absolutely free on SBTVNation.com. FSN Info has 5 of the best experts in the world, known as the Top 5 Inner Circle. With over 100 years of combined experience, their winning percentages are unmatched by anyone in the industry. This winner will get you in the plus for the week. Go to SBTVNation.com right now and click on free winner for your free blowout winner tonight.
Have a product, service, or website to advertise on the biggest show in the world? The SBTV Nation podcast reaches tens of thousands of the best sports fans on the planet in over 194 countries worldwide. Take your business to the next level by advertising with us. Call us now at 872-529-SBTV or email us at sbtvnation@gmail.com.
Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and soul. Energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
the biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world. The SBTV Nation.
SBTV Nation, it is Monday, September. I don't know the date. Oh,
September 19th.
September 19th. My bad. I was over here looking at the date and I saw October on my computer. So I'm like, whoa, that's not the date. How are you guys doing out there? This is the Dream in the House. I'm here with my boy, the Mad Hatter, and this thing we call Monday Morning Quarterback. What's going on?
We have to talk about what went down yesterday and what's going on today and for the week. Good morning, everybody. SBTV Nation. We are NFL stories to death today and having a conversation. It was a good day for me yesterday, Dream. I was able to get the Carolina Panthers to work and cover that spread in stomachache fashion, I might add you.
Definitely. Very, 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 very interesting day yesterday. The landscape of football was absolutely up and down, in and out, inconsistent. Absolutely everything that we expected. A couple of surprises, a couple not so much. 1 o'clock, I think, was a lot better. 4 o'clock, not so much as far as solid, good gameplay. A lot of sloppy play at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock schedule yesterday was a little bit shaky. I do not understand what Seattle's problem is. I cannot figure out what Seattle and the Rams have going on.
Well, I can tell you this much, that it was that prototypical low-scoring game between the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams, and sure enough, Seattle's luck finally ran out. They want to procrastinate and wait till the end, just like Alabama does in college football. And sure enough, it bit them in the face. They just could not get the job done. So the LA Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks in pretty much it's definitely an interdivision matchup. These two teams know each other pretty damn well, but what an ugly game to watch, Dream.
Very ugly game to watch. We've talked about Seattle giving up offensive line coverage for the addition of Jimmy Graham. Yeah. And a lot of people have pointed their finger to Seattle's offensive line, but I don't necessarily know that I think that it's that. You know, I've never really liked Seattle's skill players. I never really liked their wide receiver package. I've always felt that they really lacked a really good one wide receiver. They've got a bunch of, role players, so to say. but nobody that really dazzles you either with their hands or with their speed. I always felt that this team needed one of those elements, and I think that some of their success early and when they beat Denver, they were able to get away with that. I think a lot partial to their running game, which has not been existent now since Marshawn Lynch has departed. And I think that has a lot to do with what their issues are. They're not able to establish the run. They don't have the patience for that. And then when they decide to go to the air, they just don't have the players that can either get open or can make the dynamic catch consistently. Now, they will get a catch here and there. Somebody comes up with the catch. Doug Baldwin, Curse will come up with a catch. But what I'm talking about is that consistent person that you can go to that will, pull you out and make that catch. That Julio Jones, that, Odell Beckham Jr., even though I do have to talk about Odell Beckham Jr. in his performance yesterday. And a few other, guys around the NFL. I really feel, and I think that Seattle was looking for that out of Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
It just hasn't come to fruition.
And, you have a tale of two different quarterbacks there. He had Drew Brees throwing to him versus Russell Wilson. Big difference there, Dream.
Well, not only that, but the offense was just so much different. He was more of a hybrid tight end, I call it, which is a tight end that's more like a wide receiver. But in that offense, the way they run their offense, it will get him more involved easier as far as getting passes thrown. As far as Seattle, it's more of a ground and pound type offense that doesn't really get the wide receivers in the passing game, to flourish quite like New Orleans did.
Well, we kicked it off with the ugliest game to watch yesterday, Dream. So we'll get into the rest of the landscape. This is Monday Morning Quarterback. You are listening to the SBTV Nation. Guys, stand up. We are live on Twitter, SBTV Nation. We're going to be going through a lot of stuff today. We're going to be going through the recap of yesterday's games. We're going to be talking about the new AP Top 25 college football poll that has been released. Not really any surprises there, but obviously one team that has emerged and cracked the top 4. And we're going to go from there, and we're also going to be talking about Monday Night Football. And speaking of Monday Night Football, we're going to be getting Charles J. on from FSN Info on Thursday. And this segment is brought to you by FSN Info. Visit our website right now at sbtvnation.com. Click on the banner that says Free Football Winner to register now and receive tonight's Monday Night Football play between the Eagles and the Bears, absolutely free from FSN Info. Just go to our website and click on their banner. Dream, where do you want to start off with the NFL?
You know what? I'd like to start and talk about the New York Giants for a minute. I watched New York Giants yesterday. You guys noted the Giants was a play that I absolutely loved. I do like the Giants this season as far as what they're capable of. To me, they are the best team in the NFC East, and I do think that they will be a surprising team towards the end of the season if everyone stays healthy in the NFC, period. They've got good gameplay on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they're sound. You might want a little bit more out of their running game, but it's still competent. Obviously, they've offered to you that very nice package of wide receivers, with Victor Cruz and also, Odell Beckham. And now they've been splashing in Sterling Shepard. You got to give Sterling Shepard a look as well in that offense. The other thing I want to talk about, if you watch this game, which I had to endure, and I know it was one of those prototypical Giant games that looked like they were going to blow it at the end because it was set up for that. Two things stand out to me. The first thing that stood out to me was Sean Payton's use of his timeouts to give his team an opportunity at the end of the game to get the ball back and possibly have time to do something offensively was absolutely impeccable. He took timeouts at the very right spot because the Giants were trying to just run the clock out and run it down and run it out so that they would maybe set up for a field goal, get out of there, and give them hardly any time on the clock. Sean Payton forced their hand by taking timeouts at the right point in the Giants' last 3 minutes that would have given his team the ball back with time on the clock. Unfortunately, his defense was not able to stop the Giants on their last drive, which now I go flip over to the Giants side, whose end game was played absolutely perfect. Now, if you had the Giants -4, I know you're angry with me right now. We're talking about their end game because the Giants got the ball first and goal on the 1 yard line with like a minute and 50 seconds, and they took two knees and kick the field goal.
Oh, no. That's the worst way to go down.
But for the Giants, though, and for the NFL, it's honestly the way to win the game.
I agree.
I mean, I don't care what you coached. You know this. That you take two knees, you go safe, and you kick the field goal, and you win the game, and you get out of touch. The only thing I would have did different, I probably on second down, when I got the clock down to 50-something seconds, I may have ran a play, a handoff, as opposed to try to kick the field goal. I would have maybe tried to punch it in on second down with 50 seconds left, then called my timeout with 3 to 10 seconds left and kicked the field goal. However, I think the Giants executed this in-game to perfection, and hats off to them, because this is a game that last year the Giants would have lost.
Sure. Definitely. So they are 2-0 now, Dream.
2-0.
And looking past to week 3. So moving on to the rest of the games I'm looking at here. Carolina Panthers go ham and score 46 points on the 49ers defense. Killer Cam, 353 yards with 4 touchdowns. Dream, you and I were texting each other back and forth in this game, and it was ugly for a minute, but we ended up getting the job done overall, especially in the third quarter where they...
What a bizarre game, Hat.
Yeah, I know.
It was like Carolina could never put San Fran away for a minute.
Yep.
And you're wondering now, I didn't have to be involved with the points, but if you weren't involved with the points in this game, you had to have big headaches and stomach aches. You weren't involved with the points.
I was minus 13 and a half, and I was stomach aching that the whole time. But in the third quarter is when they kind of pulled away. They scored 2 additional touchdowns. 14-0. They outscored the 49ers in the third quarter, so I was able to get the job done that way. But it was crazy when they were trading, going back and forth for a minute. I'm like, oh.
But the Panthers kept making like little bizarre, silly mistakes. The kickoff, they fumbled the kickoff. Remember that play?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck are they doing? I mean, there was opportunities for them to really blow out this Niner team and get them out of there. I mean, they ended up doing that still, but this game should have not even been, it shouldn't even have been edgy, and it was very edgy for a long time. The other funny point about this game was, for me, obviously, the celebrating.
Yeah, right.
Everybody now is involved in the celebration.
Yeah, the whole team is doing it. Yep.
The whole team now is involved in the celebration.
They love it. They love it over there in Carolina.
Keep in mind, this game had a 1 o'clock start. Want to put a little emphasis on Chip Kelly's offense. This game did not end yesterday till about 4:45. That had a lot to do with Chip Kelly's offense that uses absolutely no time on the clock. They're 3 and out. I mean, you're talking about 25 seconds has elapsed.
Right. Exactly. It keeps the game going. I totally understand that.
So we have to keep that in mind when moving forward with the Niners. I also told you that every game, the Niners defense has 2 more possessions in series than the other opposing team's defense. Add that up each week. Now we already are at 4 more possessions than the other team's defense. Keep that in mind as we put wear and tear on this defense.
Definitely. So moving on here, Dream, we watched the New England Patriots completely embarrass the Miami Dolphins in the first half. Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, and then all of a sudden the Dolphins look like a Super Bowl team in the second half. Talk to me about your thoughts on this game.
The Dolphins did not look like a Super Bowl team at any point yesterday.
I saw Ryan Tannehill torch the Patriots defense. 389 yards, 2 touchdowns, and most of that coming in the second half.
I'm wondering though, when you're up 24-0, okay, at the half, and then you go up 31 to 3. Okay, I'm wondering if the defense maybe a tad bit.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, before you got.
But still, I mean, you realize that the Dolphins came all the way down to like the 25 or 30-yard line to tie that game at the end, Dream?
I do realize that they did that. Unfortunately, I did not watch a lot of this game because it got blown out and so ugly in the early portions of this game that it was just like, hey, you know what? I got to go somewhere else. I got to, I've got the Giants going on. I want to see a little bit of the Panthers. Plus, I want to see a couple of the other games. So I'm figuring this game was, well in hand. I do know Garoppolo got hurt and left the game, that we need to probably do a little bit of discussion about that.
Right.
I'm sure that had a little bit to do with the Dolphins coming back because Garoppolo was killing them, by the way.
Oh, he was murdering them.
And the offensive line did not look like it was having any issues.
Nope.
So I think we need to take that into consideration. But good fight in the Dolphins and not giving up and still giving you your money's worth as far as playing, but a little too much too late.
Exactly. I mean, my father, myself, and my kid were sitting down watching the Dolphin game front to back, and my kid actually left. He left to go do community service. He went and did the change for a football game over at the youth football. But anyway, he left because he was sick of watching it. And my father and I were getting sick of watching it because the Dolphins just got embarrassed.
So did Garoppolo. He left, too.
Yeah, right. He left, too. Exactly. They'll only get relieved by Jacoby Brissett. That's his name. From NC State, who came in 6 for 9, 92 yards. You know, they kind of dialed down the offense. Obviously, because they had a big lead, and, I don't know how many snaps this guy got in the preseason. But when you looked at it there, I mean, Arian Foster came out of the game too, Dream.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, he might be injured again.
I'm totally surprised Arian Foster injured again, as we talked about. And some teams do dumb, like the Dolphins were not in, like if you're the Patriots, you can take a chance with Arian Foster, okay? The Dolphins, though, this is something about some of these organizations, they just keep making bumbleheads mistake after bumblehead mistake.
Yep.
To me, this is a bumbling mistake because we know that Arian Foster has a legacy of being injured his whole, for the most part, career.
Right.
You cannot afford to play with a guy that will not suit up and dress for you. The Dolphins can't afford, they don't have that luxury. That's a stupid pickup for them because now they're out of Arian Foster. Move on to the next piece. Why you continue to lose?
Right. I agree with you on that one. So, looking at the rest of the landscape here, Dream, the Steelers are 2-0. They beat the Bengals in the regular season, and that game did stay under.
Scrappy game. Real scrappy game. Game did stay under. Real scrappy game. I caught a lot of pieces of this game. It was a good game. I can tell you right now, the Cincinnati Bengals do know how to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh persevered and won this game. Very interesting game. It will be very interesting to see the rematch in Cincinnati.
Yes, definitely. So, looking at the rest of it here, the Browns lose again to the Ravens, squandered a 20-2 lead, and lost the game 25-20 with 23 unanswered points by the Baltimore Ravens.
Was there any question that Cleveland was going to blow? Everybody, I know we all were sitting there looking at the score saying, I don't know if Cleveland's going to handle that still.
Yeah, right. And sure enough,
I even tweeted that out on Twitter. I'm like, there's just I have no confidence that Cleveland's going to maintain that lead and win the game. And sure enough, the Ravens came back and ended up winning.
You always just have that feeling with certain teams that they're going to blow it. And that happens time and time again. Dream, the Dallas Cowboys catch a win.
Dallas Cowboys catch a win. Kirk Cousins, though, throws an interception in the end zone. I can't remember at what mark it was at the game, but I want to say it was like at maybe the 4-minute mark of the game that might have changed this whole outcome of this game. It was an awful, awful interception. I mean, this interception it was like he was throwing to the Dallas Cowboy guy. It was a dreadful interception, and the Redskins, hard-fought game for them. I saw them go down. Listen, hats off to the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott did his thing, 21 carries, 83 yards, a touchdown. Des Bryant showed up, 7 catches, receptions for 102 yards. Kirk Cousins, though, I got to tell you, if the Redskins make that catch in that end zone, I don't necessarily know that this game would have ended up that way, but we could say that in a lot of other situations. So hats off to the Cowboys. Way to go on the road and get a win. And the Redskins, you got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah, considering the fact that they are now 0-2, and both of those games were at home, Dream. So that does not help you out. And as an 0-2 team, you have a 12% chance of making the playoffs historically over the history of the NFL. That was a stat that I heard yesterday.
The Cowboys continue to play better outside of their house than at home.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe there's a lot of distractions at home, Dream.
Maybe Jerry got to get the girls off the pole and down.
Yeah. You know how that goes, So we'll have to have that conversation moving on. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with the rest of what went down yesterday. Guys, you are listening to the SBTV Nation.
Looking to win big this football season? Go to smpicks.com, the #1 sports expert in picking winners. Everyone wants that winning edge. At smpicks.com, you'll get 30 years of experience in picking big winners on all sports with our team of experts. At smpicks.com, it's all about being a winner. Owner Scott Matthews just can't see it any other way. Visit right now at smpicks.com and receive your first huge winner on us absolutely free. That's right, all listeners receive your first huge winner on us. Scott Matthews, a great American. It's absolutely free. That's right, free just by registering at smpicks.com/SBTV.
Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action with MyBookie.net. MyBookie.net is the first and only sports action website with real Vegas odds and incredible player props for all your favorite sporting events. The best part is there are no sign-up fees and no deposits required to join, play, or win. From pro to college football, MyBookie.net lets you play online and win big. There's no better time to join MyBookie than today. Go online to MyBookie.net to open an account to start playing with the big boys. MyBookie has proven to be the most exciting online experience for all sports fans. Get in on the action. Visit MyBookie.net today. Call 844-722-2387. That's 844-722-2387. Or visit MyBookie.net today. MyBookie.net is the real deal. Only the biggest, only the best, only at MyBookie. Sign up today. No deposit necessary. Terms and conditions apply. Play for fun only. Void where prohibited.
DigitalMuscle.com, the fitness industry's media hub. Home to the most knowledgeable, influential, and inspiring members of the worldwide fitness community. DigitalMuscle.com, the exclusive home of the Arnold Classic webcast, Pro Bodybuilding Worldwide Radio, and the new Digital Muscle blogosphere. Join us at the fitness industry's media hub, DigitalMuscle.com. DigitalMuscle.com.
Attention all sports bettors. FSN Info has just released tonight's blowout winner between Philadelphia and Chicago, the ESPN game of the week, and it's available right now, absolutely free, on SBTVNation.com. FSN Info has 5 of the best experts in the world, known as the Top 5 Inner Circle. With over 100 years of combined experience, their winning percentages are unmatched by anyone in the industry. This winner will get you in the plus for the week. Go to SBTVNation.com right now and click on free winner for your free blowout winner tonight.
All right, Dream. We're back to talk about the rest of the games that went down yesterday, and I'm looking at the card here, and I'm seeing that the Texans are 2-0, Dream.
Texans are 2-0. Very surprised with the Texans and surprised with Kansas City. I did talk a little bit about Kansas City's woes defensively. We didn't really see that come to fruition so much yesterday, but the Texans didn't exactly blow them out. You know, one of the things that the Chiefs are going to have to probably overcome is they're probably going to have to get a little bit more effective with getting the ball down the field.
Right.
Which, you know, Alex Smith, that's one of his obviously not strong suits. So we talked about that in the past about him being a game manager. Not able to get the ball down the field. Hopefully they can get Jamal Charles back soon and get that going. This particular game was a little bit of a surprise to me, as I thought the Chiefs would probably have some success there. But big ups to the Texans getting it done. Osweiler, pretty good numbers, 19 for 33, 260 yards through the air with 1 touchdown. And DeAndre Hopkins, the dynamic receiver, 7 receptions, 113 yards, and 1 TD.
And there was a lot of field goals in this game. I'm looking at how many here? 8 field goals total between the two teams. What a nasty game.
Very nasty.
Very nasty. The Cardinals wiped the floor with the Buccaneers, 40-7 final score. Defensively, they looked insane. They
we
looked
can pull
like
back
they were back
now at this point on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers possibly going to the Super Bowl. Rhetoric. Slow it down.
Slow that right down, exactly. I see the Chargers went crazy on the Jags. That's probably another story that we need to kind of pull back from is the Jaguars.
And the Jags can still be a winner if right before they leave San Diego, they stop by McDonald's and grab a Happy Meal on their way out of San Diego, because they obviously didn't bring their A game to the stadium yesterday.
No, and the Chargers looked pretty decent in that game. I got to be honest with you.
The Chargers did, but don't you feel like if this game was played in Jacksonville, it would be the score would be the exact opposite?
Maybe. You might be right about that.
As both teams are still, I don't care what you say, dusty. Blake Bortles, tired of hearing about him, so let's fall back with him a little bit too.
Exactly.
And let the Jaguars be the Jaguars.
Right. The Colts fall to the Broncos 34-20. The Broncos scored a touchdown at the end of the game defensively to put it away. Dream, the Broncos at home are good. I'm very anxious to see how they perform on the road.
No, the Broncos are good. No. The Broncos are good because they're not just getting it done offensively. They're getting it done defensively, and your defense is not going to change just because you go on the road. The other thing is the Colts stink, by the way.
They do stink, and they can't play defense at all.
Listen, the Colts can't play. I don't know. They never could. You know, right. The Colts are like Alabama with never having a good quarterback. They've never had a defense. I don't know what's wrong with them in their defense. They just don't have a good defense. You know, I like Frank Gore. He is a great, older player, role player type guy, but they do need a younger running back, is my opinion. They don't have an effective run game. Andrew Luck was running for his life back there at all times. And the Colts, they just make that dumb mistake like on second down that puts them in like a 3rd and 15 that they can't pick up.
Right, exactly. And
they're a bothersome team. They bother me because I think Andrew Luck is a good quarterback, a dynamic quarterback, and obviously the future of the NFL, but it's not going to be getting done in the Colts, and they're now 0-2, and there's got to be some rumblings and some being grumpy around the camp there.
Oh, absolutely. And you think they might make a coaching change? Halfway through the season?
I don't really believe that the coaching thing is their problem. I don't know what their problem is. I just think, personally, right now, this team is not built. It doesn't have the right talent set built for what they're trying to do. And I feel like they're not going to fix that this season.
Probably not. But, and especially the fact that they have the Houston Texans that are already 2 games up on the division lead, Dream. Damn. Sure. So, luckily for them, well, I can't say luckily because they may be facing a 3rd-string quarterback Thursday night as the Houston Texans host the New England Patriots. Is that game in New England? I'm not quite sure where it is, but either way, they're facing a 3rd-string quarterback here. So, we'll see where that ends up landing. There's a possibility that the Texans could be 3-0 and the Colts could be on the bottom looking up at them. And the final game here that we got to talk about
is in New England.
It's in New England?
It is in New England.
All right, so that's going to be a tough place to play regardless. And the final game was the nightcap, which was the Packers at the Vikings, and the Vikings win the game 17-14, Dream.
Very salty game. If you guys got involved with the parlay, then hopefully you got my message. I did talk about we had hedge opportunities, and I don't know if everybody understands how the hedge thing works. Okay, 3-team parlay. We had the Giants, Carolina, Green Bay.
Yep.
Giants win, Carolina wins. Green Bay's up. Now, you go and you money line the Minnesota Vikings to win the game for a fraction of the wager. So that way, in the event that the Green Bay Packers lose, which they did, you will make something for the day. So you basically can't lose. That's what hedging is. So I don't know if everybody is familiar with that. I know we've talked about it a bunch on the show before, but obviously we have some new people who've come on board. It's a way that you can't win. We've had, fortunately, 2 nights in a row, the same hedge opportunity in both of these in both of these sets. Also, if you played the teaser, you were in an even better position because sometimes with the teaser, you have even the ability to maybe middle.
Yeah, very good point. But you know what? I understand that, Dream, but I'm thinking more of like as the game is materializing because you could just, at that point, just do a 2-team parlay. You know what I'm saying? You
can do that as well if you choose to. I like to do it more the old-fashioned way with beforehand, but you also can do it as the game. If you're into the live, see, I'm not as much into the live as you are, but if you are into the live like that, you're right. You can do it as the game's going on.
Especially when Green Bay took that 7-0 lead. Then you would have probably got the Minnesota Vikings at like a plus 500 live.
Sure. Well, I don't know if it was that high, but yeah, that's exactly right, gang.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that could also bite you in the ass too. So it can go either way, guys, moving forward. So, hey, Dream, all I got to just tell you is, it's really tough to bet against a home team underdog on prime time.
Sure it is, but it is really hard to bet against a home team underdog on prime time when you had the Green Bay Packers opt to not kick a field goal to tie this game in the 3rd quarter, which was a very controversial call. Not to mention, I happen to think that the guy picked up the 1st down, but they didn't give it to him. This game, to me, it was a very frustrating game because the Packers had no urgency in the entire game. For some reason, they had this lackadaisical up and down the field. We're going to beat them. I'm not going to get too worried about them. We got them. Don't worry about this.
Yeah, right.
Just had that attitude the whole game. Then, I don't know if anybody else picked up on this. Green Bay seemed to have a communication problem the whole game with Aaron Rodgers and the play calling. A lot of guys didn't know where they were supposed to be. He kept directing Starks into the right position. The offensive lineman kept looking back. I don't know what was wrong with their play calling yesterday or what was wrong with the signal call. Something went down with their communication amongst each other that they just seemed like everybody was not on the same page for this game. Very frustrating game from a Green Bay standpoint. From a Viking standpoint, Sam Bradford looked incredible.
Yeah, right, exactly.
22 for 31, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sam Bradford looked absolutely incredible in this particular game. Moved the ball up and down the field very efficiently. I mean, yeah, he didn't dazzle you or blow you away, but please remember, he just got there 2 weeks ago.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? 2 weeks ago, my man doesn't even. They said, okay, here's a basic 5 plays. Go out there and get him, Tiger.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, well, the Minnesota Vikings are in the driver's seat now as far as the division lead is concerned. So, Dream, what I'd like to do right now is talk out the Monday Night Football game that we got going on tonight between Philadelphia and the Chicago Bears.
Sure.
And we're going to talk it out. We're not going to make our selections yet until the end of the show, but we'll start talking it out. And we've got Philadelphia at Chicago. Chicago is -3 with an under-over of 43 points. And when you look at this particular game that's going on here tonight, it is definitely not a marquee matchup, but we got to talk about it because it's the game on the board, and FSN Info is going to give us a free winner on our website. But this segment is brought to you by MyBookie.net. MyBookie is the only football contest site where you can play for fun and win for real, whether you're an expert or a rookie. Play now at MyBookie.net and use the promo code SBTV. Dream, this game is going on in Chicago, and I'd like to get an idea of what you're looking at with this particular matchup.
Well, first of all, when you talk about Chicago Bears, you obviously talk about Jay Cuddles.
Yes.
Which doesn't bring a lot of excitement to the conversation.
I know.
Shannon Sharp said he wouldn't like to play for a guy like Jay Cuddles. Body language and the way he acts just does not make him want to play and wouldn't lift him up. And I think that is kind of dead right. Cuddles 16 for 29, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception on the season. Obviously, they want to get Alshon Jeffrey, their big target wide receiver, out there involved. He's 4 receptions for 106 yards so far. And also they want to get Langford involved in this offense as well for the running game. They've lost Matt Forte. The running game has faltered. Only 57 yards on the ground with Langford last week. And 73 yards total on the ground. So the ground game is an issue. And if they cannot establish any type of the run, then Philly will be able to pin their ears back and go after Cuddles for the majority of the game. Now, the question you have when you talk about the Eagles, Carson Wentz, is it real or is it fake?
Right.
Okay. Is it real or is it fake? 22 for 37, 270 yards through the air with 2 touchdowns. Kid looked great, but it was Cleve. It was Cleve. You got to keep in mind it was Cleve, the same Cleve that was up 20 yesterday, blowing it to Flacco. Now, I know Flacco's a seasoned veteran, but it was Cleve, so you got to take that with a grain of salt, especially with Cleve's defense. But this kid, I watched a lot of this game as well, looked absolutely phenomenal against Cleveland.
Sure.
Moved the ball up and down the field and did not look like a rookie. And apparently the people in Philadelphia had enough confidence in him that they decided, hey, Sam we don't need you. We're going to run with Carson, so kick rocks.
Yeah, right. Well, one thing I could tell you as far as the injury report, there's not many injuries on these teams, but Zach Ertz, the tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles, is declared out with a rib injury and will not play tonight. So that's something to take a look at. When you look at the trends that have gone on with these two teams, Chicago is going back to last year, 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games, where Philadelphia, on the road when playing against Chicago, 5-2 in the last 7, Dream. 4-2 straight up in their last 6 games going back to last year. They did put up 29 points last week, and they only allowed 10. Defensively, is this team for real? I mean, I
always thought Philly had a good defense. One of the problems was when they were playing with Chip Kelly, obviously they were out in the field for a little bit longer than they probably should have been. But I always felt like Philadelphia's defense was good. Not great, not the Broncos' defense, but a good, nice mid-range defense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I watched them in preseason. They were pretty damn good in the preseason. Okay. And when you look at them here, I mean, they're only, like I said, only gave up 10 points. And Chicago, when you think about them playing the Buffalo Bills, and I mean, well, who did Chicago play in their last game? Houston, right. Houston only allowed them to score 14 points. Okay, sure. Houston has a pretty halfway decent defense as well. Now, looking at these particular matchup here, I think that this game has a shot of being a low-scoring affair. I really do. I think the Bears' defense will do just enough to get it done. Obviously, we'll make our selections later on in the show, but, I just see ugliness and nastiness moving on in this particular situation here. Jay Cuddles.
About the Bears is the Bears allowed 231 yards through the air last week against the Big Brock. And I'm wondering if Carson Wentz has the same type of success as he had last week, passing for 278 yards. It looks like he's going to have a slight edge in the passing game over this Bear defense. So I think the nod is going to go to Wentz. If he's able to execute effectively like he did last week, the nod is going to go to him. Also, I do not remember the Bears pass rush being an issue for the Big Brock last week. If they're not able to get a body on this kid and let him stand back in that pocket and throw, I think he will pick the Bears defense apart.
Last time these two teams played each other was 3 years ago, Dream, and Philadelphia won 54-11 in that particular situation. So, I don't know. You know what? This is a really tough game to call, but when you look at it, when you look at the stats here, obviously it's lopsided considering the fact that one team won and one team lost. This is on the grass at Soldier Field at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, and that total of 43 looks pretty apropos for this matchup.
When I look at the Bears, my thing though with them is outside of Alshon Jeffries offensively, what else do they have to offer?
Yeah, not much.
You know what I'm saying?
Not much at all. They've had some key losses in that offense as well. So I don't know. You know what, Philadelphia? This will be the game where they'll be tested, and we'll see what they end up doing defensively. Let's see if they're for real defensively, Dream.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't necessarily know that this is a good test. I think even after this game, we're still going to have our eyebrow raised with Carson Wentz, whether we believe in him or not, but it'll give us one more, obviously one more look at him in an actual NFL game situation, but I don't know if this will really test who he is.
Yeah, well, he's had to get all the jitters out in the last game, but he's going to be on prime time tonight. So a lot of pressure for the young man in this particular game. So, guys, we will be right back, and we will talk about the college football new rankings that have come up and our selections on tonight in football and baseball. You are listening to your boys at the SBTV Nation.
DigitalMuscle.com, the fitness industry's media hub, home to the most knowledgeable, influential, and inspiring members of the worldwide fitness community. DigitalMuscle.com, the exclusive home of the Arnold Classic webcast, Pro Bodybuilding Worldwide Radio, and the new Digital Muscle Blogosphere. Join us at the fitness industry's media hub, DigitalMuscle.com. DigitalMuscle.com.
Looking to win big this football season? Go to SMPicks.com, the #1 sports expert in picking winners. Everyone wants that winning edge. At SMPicks.com, you'll get 30 years of experience in picking big winners on all sports with our team of experts. At SMPicks.com, it's all about being a winner. Owner Scott Matthews just can't see it any other way. Visit right now at SMPicks.com and receive your first huge winner on us absolutely free. That's right, all listeners receive your first huge winner on us, Scott Matthews, a great American. It's absolutely free. That's right, free just by registering at SMPicks.com/SBTV.
Have a product, service, or website to advertise on the biggest show in the world? The SBTV Nation podcast reaches tens of thousands of the best sports fans on the planet in over 194 countries worldwide. Take your business to the next level by advertising with us. Call us now at 872-529-SBTV or email us at sbtvnation@gmail.com.
All right, Dream. The new AP college football poll has been released. And I'd like to get your thoughts on these teams. We're going to break this down and go through it. You've got number 1, Alabama, still at number 1 with a 3-0 record.
Don't like it.
You don't like Alabama?
At number 1, no.
Roll Tide as number 1?
No.
Dream.
I don't like them at number 1.
Ole Miss is a really tough place to play.
I don't like Alabama at number 1.
Okay.
Too much struggling. I know Ole Miss is tough at home, but there was a point in that game that Alabama could have put Ole Miss away and blew them out and covered their spread.
Yeah,
and
okay.
they didn't.
Yeah, I understand
It was
that.
sloppy, and they had an ineffectiveness on offense a bunch of times, like I'm used to seeing Alabama have and struggle. I don't like them as a number 1 team in the country. I'm sorry.
All right. Number 2, The Ohio State University, 3-0, number 2 team in the land.
I don't mind Ohio State being number 2.
You don't mind them being
In fact,
number 2.
that's where I have them at in my ranking.
All right. Number 3, coming up 3 spots from being, actually coming up 7 spots from being number 10, the Louisville Cardinal.
And you can swap Louisville with Alabama
Really?
because I believe that Louisville is the number 1 team in the country and Alabama should be number 3.
Louisville's got some really good tests coming up moving forward. So they've got Houston, they've got Clemson, they've got some pretty they got a pretty rough schedule moving forward. So but they are, I mean, Action Jackson and the boys, I mean, Dream, absolutely insane what they're doing. They're putting up over 60 points a game.
Putting up 60 points a game, but what's more impressive about this team, while everybody is keeping their eye on this dynamic offense, which is incredible, and I get it, what they're doing defensively is just as impressive.
Michigan stays put at number 4, 3-0 record.
I'm not liking them there. I like Clemson over Michigan.
You like Clemson over Michigan?
Yes.
You know, Michigan started out very sloppy, and you might attest to that, to Harbaugh having a little bit of distractions the week before, Dream.
Somebody
So, moving on here, you got Clemson number 5 after their big blowout win this week, 59-0. They are 3-0, and they are number 5 in the land. They've moved down a couple of spots here.
They have moved down a couple of spots, which may be good for them.
Yeah, okay.
Get the media out of there a little bit. Get everybody stop talking about them a little bit. Stop bothering them and let them go about their business. But I got to be honest with you. This week, we called for them to step up to the plate and impress us. They stepped up to the plate, had an impressive win, pitched a shutout as far this week. So that was impressive. I think a step in the right direction. And maybe they are ready to start their run as beginning of the season. I liked them and had them in the forefront for going back to the national title. Thought this team was going to be, capable of great things. So far this year, a little bit of a disappointment, but the season is still young.
Season is still young. Number 6, the Houston Cougars, 3-0.
I absolutely love Houston at number 6. I have no problem with that.
Stanford, number 7, 2-0. They are a Pac-12 team on number 7.
I'm not the biggest fan of this Stanford team.
No.
I think Christian McCaffrey's getting a whole lot of hype. I can't take anything away from them, but I don't really care for them at the 7th spot. I think there's a couple teams I put in front of them at this point, but I don't necessarily have a big problem with them being there.
All right, number 8, the Michigan State Spartans, who were 2-0 on the big win versus Notre Dame.
Very impressed with Michigan State. Like what they did against Notre Dame. Notre Dame also made a bunch of bad mistakes themselves that Michigan State was able to capitalize on. Obviously, you beat who you play. Don't have a problem with Michigan State being at 8, but wouldn't mind them swapping with Stanford.
All right, number 9 is Washington, Pac-12 team, 3-0 record, winning impressively, but obviously beating up on the little sisters of the poor lately.
Sure. Haven't seen a lot of this Washington team yet. I'm probably going to try to get a look at them maybe this weekend. I don't know enough about them to make a comment, yay or nay, so I'm just going to fall back.
All right, number 10, Texas A&M, 3-0.
I feel like Texas A&M should have been moved up maybe to 7 player. I feel like this Texas A&M team is a little bit better than they're getting, touted for.
All right, number 11 is Wisconsin. I'm just going to rattle off the rest of them, and feel free to make a comment as if What's that?
Nope, I don't like Wisconsin.
You don't like Wisconsin?
No, not at 11.
Well, they're going to have a big test going into the Big House and playing Harbassel coming up real soon. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup. Number 12, Georgia, 3-0, Dream. Number 12 after that 1-point win when they were like a 35-point favorite.
Yes, no, I don't like Georgia there. They should be down a little bit further. I don't think Georgia's that good.
All right, what about here? I'm sure you're going to have some opinions on the next couple here. Florida State, number 13, after that beatdown, you could forget about seeing them, whether they win the ACC or not. When you get beat down that bad by a Louisville Cardinal team, there's just no way they're going to put them in the playoff.
That's a huge drop for them. I feel bad for them in a sense. I don't think that they necessarily should have dropped that far. You might have could have them at that 9 spot with some reshuffling that. They're not that bad of a team, and Louisville is that good. So I wouldn't, I feel bad for them all the way at 13.
All right. So number 14 is your favorite team.
Stop it.
The Tennessee Vols. 3-0, undefeated, Dream.
Stop it. Please. Please get them out of there.
Struggling with Ohio.
Please get them out of there.
Well, you know what? They haven't lost a game, so you got to keep that in the back of your brain, whether they've played nobodies or not. They did beat Virginia Tech, and they played a couple of tough teams.
Well, they do have Florida on the horizon this week, so maybe we'll get a gift and Florida will beat them down. I do not like this Tennessee team, gang, but as Hat says, they are undefeated right now, so they are remaining at the 14th spot.
All right, Miami, the U, number 15, after the beatdown of Appalachian State, so Tennessee's ahead of them. Tennessee struggled with Appalachian State, and Miami is below them and murdered Appalachian State in Appalachian State.
Right.
Number 15. Interesting. So you definitely should flip Miami and Tennessee for sure. You got number 16, Baylor. Kind of starting out slow a little bit in some of these games, but, still winning convincingly. Number 17, Arkansas. Number 18, LSU. Number 19, Florida. Number 20, Nebraska. Dream, Texas drops to 21 after that loss at Cal.
Apropos.
San Diego State, number 22. Ole Miss, number 23. Number 24, Utah. And number 25, the team that a lot of people were billing as the national champion this year is number 25 with 2 losses already.
Oklahoma should not be ranked or ranked as dusty.
Ranked as dusty, exactly. So that's pretty brutal. And, there's some other teams that are receiving votes, including the North Dakota State Bison, Dream, who went into Iowa. I said it early in the week. I said that this team is a problem. They've always been good, and they go into Iowa and win.
Yes.
So that's pretty interesting there, guys. So keep that in the back of your brains when you're out there gambling. So that's going to do it for
Illinois ranked.
Oh, shut up. I'm done with the Fighting Illini, by the way. I am sick of that. Oh, that made me so mad this weekend. But it was a good weekend overall. But
it was a great weekend overall.
That one there,
it was a very good weekend for
that
me.
one there kind of pissed me off. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. So, Dream, I think it's about that time to get into our selections and have a conversation with what is going on. So we're going to go back to the Monday Night Football game and discuss, are you going to be gambling on this game tonight or what?
I am.
All right, so tell me where you're going with this game. We're going to read it again. You got Chicago. The line has not changed since the last time we talked about it. They're -3 with an under-over of 43.
All right, where I'm at here is, as I talked about, I just don't see any players on Chicago Bears that really scare me. You have Alshon Jeffries, who has not really ever panned out and worked out to fruition. Big target. He and Cutler, I don't know what their relationship is like, but before the season started, there was a little bit of rumblings. They've gotten Eddie Royal a little bit involved in this offense, so we won't forget about him. But I'm still not really all that impressed by any of that as far as the offense is concerned. On the flip side, this Philadelphia team, we talked about them having a pretty decent defense. Not great, but pretty good. We talked about Carson Wentz being able to move this offense up and down the field and pick them apart. We've also talked about Chicago's inability to rush the quarterback. Yes. All that said, I like the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. I'm thinking about taking the Eagles. By themselves, I will buy it down, obviously, like I always do, buy it down to 2.5 in this particular matchup. I'm going to take the Eagles. My recommendation, if you don't like just taking the Eagles with the points and you want to get some little bit of safety, the safety and the safer matchup is probably a 2-team teaser with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I happen to agree with Hat. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game. I think it's going to be an under. I tease the under up.
Dream, the Philadelphia Eagles are an underdog, +3.
Right.
So you said get it down to 2.5.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
So you're going to be getting like a lot of, you're going to be getting double-digit points in that teaser.
Sure.
So you're going to be getting about 10. So you like that +10 and moving the total up to what, 50?
Moving the total up to 50. Now, the teaser's not what I'm doing. I'm going to just take the Eagles. I like the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles. And, got to be honest with you. I made money line the Eagles.
You made money line the Eagles.
I made money line the Eagles. I like the Eagles tonight. I think the Eagles are a little bit more polished. I think they'll be able to execute. And they don't, like I said, Chicago, I'm not afraid of their pass rush. I think Philadelphia's going to have some success. I like the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles tonight.
All right. Well, hey, I wish you the best of luck at that. I'm looking at this game here, and if I saw this game right smack in the middle of a Sunday card, I would guarantee I would not bet this game. Watching it here, I'm going to look at some player props later on, but I'm thinking that this game may start a little slow. And I'm just not convinced that the Philadelphia Eagles offensively will move up and down the field on the Bears tonight. I think the Bears will be charged up in this particular matchup. Coming off the loss, Philadelphia may be overperforming so far. I like this to be an ugly game, and I think I'm going to get involved with the under 43. I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe do an open teaser, get it up to the 50 mark where you're at, Dream, and keep it open into next week. Sure. Do like a marathon play. But I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to look at the baseball card to see if there's anything that I can mix that with as well. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of going. I mean, and Chicago defensively is, in their first matchup, they only gave up 73 yards on the ground. Actually, I'm sorry, 100. They only rushed for 73. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be low scoring. I really do. Moving on. So
I happen to agree with you. I mean, I see some people out there who are saying, no, they think the over is going to come in. I mean, I get a little bit of that, but I'm just trying to figure out how Chicago scores.
Right. Exactly.
Other than them just being home.
Other than him just being home. Exactly. All right, dude. So let's go. We got a couple minutes left here. Let's talk about the baseball card, Dream, because there are some really big matchups moving on. Key division matchups, guys. You have the first place versus the second place teams in the American League East and the National League West going on. You got Boston at Baltimore. Boston, this is 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. You got Rick Porcello versus Dylan Bundy. Boston is favored in Baltimore -130 with an under-over of 9. This is going to be a great matchup, guys. This series right here, whoever wins this series is going to be in the driver's seat or pretty damn close because, I mean, Boston won last night. They're 3 games up over Baltimore. Baltimore, if they lose this series, Boston's going to be in very, very good shape to win that division. So, and they're putting their ace, Rick Porcello, on. And to be honest with you, Dream, I think in the playoffs, Rick Porcello might be the starter. 20-4 record with a 3.12 ERA, not David Price.
All right.
What do you got for the rest of it here? Do you got it pulled up?
I do. The Orioles, who are 47-27 at home. We will talk about the Orioles and their being able to win at home. Bundy is 9-6 with a 3.88 ERA. This game, as Hat said, is slated for 7:05 Eastern Standard Time start. The Red Sox 39-32 on the road. Very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I don't like this game personally, guys. Baltimore's very good at home. And when you look at it here, they just have not fared well versus Boston. They're 2-5 straight up in the last 7 when playing at home versus Boston. And the Boston Red Sox, Dream, I got them on my radar.
I do.
To win the AL. So I'm going to just kind of sit back and play cheerleader here on this particular matchup. But we had to talk about it because huge playoff implications here.
Sure.
Huge. Moving on to the next one here, we've got These two pitchers have probably faced each other more than any other pitchers in Major League Baseball. You got San Francisco versus L.A., Madison Bumgarner versus Clayton Kershaw. L.A. minus 170 with an under-over of 6 runs. What you got here, man?
Clayton Kershaw takes the mound for the Dodgers. It's a 10-10 Eastern Standard Time start. Kershaw is 11-3 with a 1.81 ERA. The Dodgers 47-27 at home. Madison Bumgarner comes in 14-9, 2.66 ERA. The Giants with an epic collapse. 39-35 on the road. This game, like I said, 10-10 Eastern Standard start in LA.
All right, so when you look at San Francisco in the last 7 games, 2-5 straight up, and the Dodgers in the last 15 are 10-5. The Dodgers, surprisingly, I mean, they've been without Kershaw for a while now and managed to get that division lead, and they are up 5 games on San Francisco. So if San Francisco loses this series, they're in big trouble to win the NL West. And I got news for you. They're going to be running neck and neck with the Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals for that wild card spot. So they have to win some games here, and they're already got to face Kershaw in Game 1 of this series. So pretty interesting. Moving on to the next one, I know that this is basically a very lopsided affair, but we need to see what's going to go on with the New York Metropolitans, as Noah Syndergaard is definitely their ace at this point, and it sucks. Jacob deGrom is out for the year now, Dream. So Syndergaard is going to need to definitely carry this team on his back. Obviously, they got some other pitchers going, but, you know, they're minus 290. They're facing the Atlanta Braves. So I think this is a pretty damn good spot for the New York Mets to get it done, weather permitting, because it is absolutely awful outside as far as the weather here in Connecticut. It's supposed to rain all day and all night here, guys. So I just don't know if this game is going to get played, but if it does, you might want to consider taking the New York Mets. What do you got here?
New York Mets are 41-33 at home. This game 7:10 Eastern Time start at Citi Field. Noah Syndergaard takes the mound 13-8. 2.43 ERA for New York Mets. The Braves are putting on Blair. He's 0-6 with an 8.23 ERA, and the Braves are 32-42 on the road.
One thing I do have to say, as bad as the Braves are, Dream.
Yep.
In New York, in the last 5 games, they're 4-1.
Wow.
Sick. So I'm sure that the Mets have that in the back of their brains. Okay. But, you know, the Mets, they have to win these games. They have to, guys. And when you look at the landscape of the wild card right now, the Mets are 1 game up on the San Francisco Giants, and St. Lucia is sitting outside looking in 1 game back of the San Francisco Giants. So if it ended today, the game would be in Citi Field, the wild card game between San Francisco and the New York Mets. Mets are playing good ball.
Sure.
Winners of 3 straight and 7-3 in the last 10. And I do have a little parlay prop going on where it's a World Series matchup of the Mets versus the Red Sox. It paid absolutely bananas. So all I need is them to kind of advance 2 levels, and I'm in the money. That's it. So other than that, Dream, I don't really see any other baseball that I am on. Those are the key matchups that I'm looking at today. Unless you've got anything that you want to pick out.
I do not. I think those are great matchups. You know, I think the Mets have a lot of momentum right now, are believing in themselves. They're making their little bit of run, so you might want to get involved with them. Guys, you know I am not getting involved with baseball.
You're not getting involved with baseball. You did the other night. You did Friday night.
I did Friday night. Yeah, I know.
And there was college football on.
I kept scratching my head, but I'm not going to get involved today. I am going to get involved. Trust me, when the playoffs start, I'll be back all in baseball when the playoffs start. But right now, you know, Hat and I have done that must-win thing with these teams before in the past, and it's punched us in the face a bunch of times.
And you know what? From what I understand, the New York Mets have to play a very weak schedule moving on for the rest of the year, Dream. Okay. Very, very weak schedule moving on. I mean, they just had the Twins, and now they've got the Atlanta Braves for a home set. Interesting. They may be the real deal here. Moving on. So I don't think they're going to catch the Nationals in the division, but they have a real good chance to distance themselves in the wild card race. So that's going to do it for me, man.
Well, we're going to get ready to get out of here. Obviously, I want to thank everybody that got up this morning, listened to Monday Morning Quarterback, and retweeted the show. We got Jay Cash, Terrence Mack, Vegas Girl 92661, KMVU, Rigetti, Yippa 82, CDN, Capper Kings, my boy Urban. Urban, what's going on, player? C. Rodriguez Jr., thank you for calling as well. It Be Easy's out there. Jeff Ryan, Cluck, LA Wiz Kid, Marlon, JC, Sin City Maverick, and Kerry Bouchard. Listen, when I talked about the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know why. I thought the Eagles were given 3.
Yeah, I don't know either. I was like listening to you. I'm like,
I don't know what I was doing or thinking about. But let me tell you this. I do like the Eagles. And if you like the Eagles, the smart thing to do with the Eagles is to buy a half a point.
yeah, get it up to 3.5.
Get it up to 3.5. That's the really smart thing to do. I may take a chance because I'm the rodeo clown. You know how I get down. And I had a great weekend, so I may take a chance. You know when you have those odd numbers, when you win, like say you win, a couple of dollars, but you have like that 2160.
Yeah, right.
So you want to make your account even. I have some change left over in the account like that, so that's what's going to go on this game. So guys, I'm not going anything crazy, and please don't this is definitely not the type of game that you want to try to bail yourself out with.
No.
Because there's a lot of question marks in this game. We don't know if Carson Wentz is real, and we have to still, get a good look at him. But if you are getting involved and you're looking at that 3, you might want to buy it up to 3.5. And if you are feeling froggy, like the hat likes to say, you might want to go ahead and money line it. And also the teaser with Philly and the under are what Hat and I like.
All right,
I'm the
guys.
Dream. Always remember who you with. Make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back. We'll see you guys back on Thursday.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the under in the game tonight, and I'm going to mix that with the New York Metropolitans. I think the Mets will get it done if the game happens, because Aaron Blair is absolutely brutal, and I'm sure the Mets will bounce back and have a sense of urgency there to win all these games. Guys, we love you to death. Go out there, go easy, rise and grind. It's Monday. So go out there and conquer the world and get that money. Let's go.